Tifu by texting my date that I might end up marrying him seconds after we ended our date plus 4-year update. Original post August 5, 2020. This just happened to me. Literally 10 minutes ago. I am dying. I am dead. And me now, oh holy ghost. I thought this only happened in some poorly written rom-coms. The kind where life hardly imitates the real one. I want to bury myself and never come to see the light again. Why me? Oh, why me? 10 painfully long minutes ago, I, exalted by the wonderful date I went with this handsomely gorgeous man who also happened to be a friend of mine for the last 3 years, against my apartment door that I had just closed on his beautiful face, I typed these words that will fiercely haunt me now: bitch, I think I'm going to end up marrying this guy. This was meant for my best friend, the only other soul I could muster to express my vulnerable feelings. I sent this deeply poetic text to him instead. Do you think there is a void big enough in this planet to hold all my misery? All the embarrassment? Do you think I can make a pact with the devil to turn back time? I would just need 10 minutes. That'd be really nice. Can I please die now? Literal and metaphorical death is the only relief I might know. I am currently in my library, sprawled across the floor intently staring at the ceiling. Man, I think I'll be here forever. TLDR, I mistakenly texted my date that I might end up marrying him as we just ended our date. Realized too late the text meant for my best friend was sent to him instead. Bitch HH, I owe you an update. Good news, there's so much staring at the ceiling one can do before pure boredom kicks in and the realization that the desire to scream fuck 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 at the top of your lungs will most likely not last for an eternity. Bad news, you guys did me dirty by blasting my still fresh embarrassment on the front page and apparently on a famous Portuguese radio show this morning. Cool. So, onto the meaty love update. Once I realized the text blunder, I quickly texted him that it was not meant for him, with a crying emoji for good measure. Sweet man that he is, he responded immediately to let me know that he doesn't read texts not meant for him, winking face. I subsequently asked for permission to die. He said. Please don't, kissing face. This morning, he texted me about some travel plans we have down the line. Bless this handsome man. The gods are cruel, but not that cruel. This is where I should clarify that the original post was obviously a tad hyperbolic, just like that text, go figure. I slept well last night, and I also laughed. At myself, the blunder, just the ridiculous timing. What also got imprinted on me was that exact moment I wrote and sent that text. The moment he leaned and kissed me good night, I looking at him as I closed my apartment door, locking it and at once turning around and heavily sighing and smiling, keys still in hand. 2 weeks ago, he had proposed going on a walk at the park. I had an inkling somehow that after knowing each other for 3 years, he was going to finally, perhaps, become vulnerable and share a few things. I had been in a serious relationship when we met, and, what I know now to be out of respect and my ironclad boundaries, he never made any advances. But I was single now, and at the park, sitting there, together, he looked at me and said he had feelings for me. Long time, 3-year-long feelings. And right there at Prospect Park, on a clear night, under some 35 visible stars, we counted, he kissed me. Last night, it was my turn to be vulnerable, even if accidentally. For once, I think I understand Ted. He was always the guy I wanted to throw my shoe at whenever his ridiculous face showed up on the screen, which was a lot. As for the library, I'm not Jane Austen, but I'm a New Yorker, and the luxury of ample space is not something I recognize. My dream as a child refugee, growing up in deep poverty, was to have a dedicated place for all the books I could buy when I would grow up and have money. Here's a pic of my library nook that I built through vintage thrifting, DIY projects and patience, the library. This is it, folks. The update. I might prefer this life over any rom-com. Relevant comments. The pic of the library is gone, but Toop explains it in a comment. You guys, it's not a literal library. It's a corner of my apartment I've turned into a library nook. Also, for what is worth, this is an embarrassing story that just literally happened to me, but believe me, as a refugee who has suffered through deep poverty from early childhood, I'm well aware of all of the hardships existing out there. Now, let me go back to staring at the ceiling. Just Amy. You just ruined my mental picture of you in a dramatic swoon across a plush tapestry on the floor of a dusty Victorian library, cheeks flushed and with the back of your hand across your forehead, muttering things like woe is me and verily, I am vexed. Tilda. Lady 1487. Make it into a joke. Bring up that's what they say in those rom-coms and honestly just make it a laughable experience for both. Example, bitch, I think I'm going to end up marrying this guy, says every girl on a rom-com. Make it into a quote. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm the type of person to turn my fuck up into a joke. Oop. I'm probably going to greet him with a chirpy hi, husband, next time I see him. Tweetart 1968. You can only refer to him as bitch from here on out. TIFF update July 17, 2024, 4 years later. Bitch, we got married. 3 years after I mistakenly pressed send, texting this gorgeous specimen of a guy I would marry him seconds after ending our first date, key still in hand as I struggled to both text and lock the door, and subsequently sprawled across my library wishing for the floor to engulf me, I did end up marrying the man. Damn. What in the world, life? Thought I'd let you guys know since you did help me with your funny comments and shared shameful moments to eventually get myself up that fateful evening, dust myself off, and not commit cringe seppuku. It's been 3 years of pure joy, and he's still as dreaming and kind, you guys. And it was kids, that's how I met your father after all. See you in the next chapter. TL, DR, bitch HH, I married the man. Sending that text by mistake 3 years ago telling him I'd marry him right after our first date was just the truth.